Thank you, everyone, for joining me week after week for these live internet studies. My name is Ariel Ben Lyman Hanavi, and we're starting off again where we left off last week in our study on Matthew chapter 9. We're looking at verses 14 through 17, as you can see pulled up on my screen right now. And let me just read the passage in question, and then we'll jump right into the study where we left off. The passage reads, and this is the ESV version that I'm borrowing here, "Then the disciples of John came to him saying," and we're talking about Yeshua, right? If you've got a red letter edition of the Bible like King James or ESV, then you can instantly see that these are the words of the Master here. The disciples said, "Why do we and the Pharisees fast, but your disciples do not fast?" And then verse 15, Jesus says to them, "Can the wedding guests mourn as long as the bridegroom is with them? The days will come when the bridegroom is taken away from them, and then they will fast." He continues, "No one puts a piece of cloth," in verse 16, verse 16. "No one puts a piece of unshrunk cloth on an old garment, for the patch tears away from the garment, and a worse tear is made." And then in verse 17, "Neither is new wine put into old wineskins. If it is the wineskins, or if it is the skins burst, and the wine is spilled, and the skins are destroyed, but new wine is put into fresh wineskins, and so both are preserved." And that's the end of the passage. And as we've been talking about, and we've been borrowing a commentary that is available on my website at tetzetorah.com, TETZETORAH.com. Right on the homepage, there's a cluster of links to commentaries and commentary series, and the Matthew commentary is right in that cluster. They're alphabetized, so just find it there. And we've been looking at different Christian commentaries. We've been kind of pouring through the mind of different pastors, different well-known pastors who have offered their interpretation of this set of passages, this set of verses. We looked at, and this isn't in the order, but I'm just rattling them off in the order that they pop into my head. We looked at Pastor John MacArthur. We've looked at Pastor John Piper. We looked at Pastor David Guzik. We looked at gotquestions.org, and I utilized resources that are easily available to anyone on the internet, and they're free, and they're somewhat comprehensive. The resources that I mentioned offer commentaries on this particular passage. Indeed, Pastor John MacArthur and Pastor David Guzik, they actually both offer verse-by-verse commentaries on the entire Bible. I bet you didn't know that. I mean, you can get not just good, solid teaching, but for free, right? That's great for anyone's budget. So go ahead and check them out. John Piper, Piper, and John MacArthur. I can't remember how to spell MacArthur. If it's M-A-C or if it's M-C. I think it's M-A-C. But look them up online, and as I mentioned earlier, they're highly respected, well-trusted, highly reliable as well. But what I found is that your average Christian interpretation of these passages is pushed into a mindset or framework or hermeneutic, kind of like a scriptural bias when we talk about hermeneutic, of interpreting Yeshua's words, right? The three parts, the part of the feast, the wedding feasts, and then the part about the unshrunk cloth, and then the part about the old wineskins. Most Christian pastors interpret these verses as if Yeshua is explaining to those around him that he's going to begin to bring this radically new way of life, new religion, as it were, a lifestyle that's incompatible with the existing worldview of Judaism, or the existing religion of Judaism. And that's why Yeshua has to use these examples of the unshrunk cloth and the old garment, right? If Yeshua were to just take Judaism, treat it like an unshrunk cloth, treat it like an old cloth, and try to patch it with his theology, then Yeshua's theology is not going to match up with the Jewish worldview, or the Jewish way of life, or the Jewish way of thinking about approaching God through keeping the commandments and the sacrifices and things like that. And Yeshua's theology and teaching is going to tear away from Judaism and cause a worse hole. Likewise, if Yeshua's, these are the interpretations I'm giving, kind of the overview. I'm paraphrasing what many pastors have said. Likewise, when Yeshua hit the scene, he realized that what he was offering was akin to pouring new wine, which is symbolic of Yeshua's theology and teaching and way of thinking, into old wineskins, which was Judaism again. And if Yeshua were to simply do that, then the skins would burst, the wine would be spilled, and both would be destroyed and things like that. The skins would be destroyed, right? Judaism couldn't handle Yeshua's new teaching, new theology, so radical as it is.